So the next thing that we're going to cover is using object drawing mode or object mode for shapes. So when I say shapes, I mean the things that we are making with the shape tool. We got rectangles, we got ovals, and we've got Polystar, which is polygons, or if you go down to the tool options, stars. Okay, so let's work with ovals. Now, just like with anything else, if we look at our tool properties, we will see that there is a button for object drawing mode. When it is on, the circle here is light gray, and when it is off, it is dark gray. It is hard to see sometimes. It is currently off, so I'm going to draw a circle, holding shift to get a perfect circle. And then I'm going to switch to my selection tool and show you that this circle is a shape. I've got my polka dots. I can separate it from its fill. The fill is also a shape. If I do this and then do this, it cuts into the other shape because it is in what is called merge mode or merge drawing mode. Okay, now I'm going to draw the same circle. O for oval tool. Okay, I'm going to draw the same circle with object drawing mode turned on. Go back to my selection tool and you will see that rather than having the polka dots or halftone to show that it's selected, there's a blue box around it. And I can't separate it from its stroke. The stroke and the fill are one part of the object. Okay, so I'm going to bring these over, free transform them so they're bigger, and let's look at some things that we can do with our object mode circle that we can't do with our shape mode circle. So if you've already watched the video on doing this with the classic brush tool, this will seem familiar. If you haven't, then this will be might be new information to you. So I'm going to copy and do a paste in center, and if I do this and just drop that same colored circle right there, these two shapes will merge together because they are shapes and therefore they work in merge mode. I'm going to back up. If I do the same thing, but I make this a different color shape and I drop it there, it's going to cut this shape out. It's going to merge here, and since they are separate colors, separate shapes, it's going to cut that piece out. But let's say what I want is I want a circle and sitting in front of another circle, and I want to be able to move this circle and there still be a circle underneath. Well, I can do that by drawing the circle in object mode first. Object drawing mode on, circle, and there you go. These are still full separate circles. They do not merge together. Another thing we can do with object mode, which is super useful, objects that are drawn in object drawing mode can be transformed and arranged. So we're going to start with arrange. We're going to start with arrange. Bring to front, bring forward, send to back, and send backward are our options. So let's say that I want this green circle in front. I just have to go to bring to front, and now it is in the front. Let me draw another circle that's like a different color, just like an oval. There we go. Let's say that I want this to be behind both of those. Arrange, send to back, and now it's back there. If I want it between the green and the blue, purple, I can send that to the back, and there we go. You can also use send backward. And it will send things back one level of one arrangement level. You can think of objects drawn in object drawing mode as pieces of paper that you've cut out and laid on top of each other. You can sort them any way that you want. Okay, so let's look at something a little bit more complex. Let's say that you want to use a shape. I'm going to turn the stroke off so we're just using a color. Let's say that you want to use a shape to create a more complicated shape. Let's say that I want like that shape, and I want to make it out of this shape because this looks bad. Well, I can use what is known as the subselection tool to edit that. So the subselection tool, when you use it on a drawing object, you select the edge of the object, and real quick I'm going to change this so that we can see that color better. And I am going to zoom, 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 zoom. When we use our subselection, we have the ability to be able to see and edit what are known as anchor points. If you've used a vector software before, like Adobe Illustrator or IBIS Paint or Affinity Designer or any other vector-based software, you should be familiar with these little friends. They are anchor points, and they allow us to edit the curve along the outside of an object. The things sticking off of the anchor points are handles, which allows us to change the direction that the curve is facing. Okay, so let's try making this shape with this shape. All right, so I've got handles and anchor points at set locations around my circle. I'm going to start with the middle because that looks like it's going to be the easiest. And then move this up a little and move that up a little and scooch that around. Maybe turn that. Just mess with it until it looks like you want it to look. And there you go. You can do something similar with the rectangle tool. The only difference is that rectangles only have 4 anchors. So really you can make a triangle or make a diamond or any kind of possibility that you can get out of 4 angles. Wow. You might have better luck using a rounded rectangle. If you remember going to your tool properties rectangle, if you set a number here for the degrees of roundness, let's say for the radius, let's say 50, you can get a rounded rectangle which will have more points on the edges for you to work with. Excuse me, more points on the corners for you to work with. So remember, subselection tool lets you lets you edit the edges here, the contours or curves of a shape or a drawing object. Your regular selection tool just lets you select it and move it around.